Okay. So I don't know if this is Cicada or 7's exposed. But I was looking at this, and the kidney stone, the Phosphorus Stone, has to do with phosphorus. This guy here, I think he was boiling urine, him or someone else, alchemist. He was searching for the Phosphorus Stone and ended up discovering phosphorus. It glows when exposed to oxygen. It means phosphorus means light bearer. Glow after illumination. So I started looking up all this stuff on phosphorus and kidneys, urine. Try to do this before everybody gets back. Your kidneys excrete excess phosphorus. It combines with calcium, causing stones. Too much or too little phosphorus creates issues, not just for the body, but the earth as well. I think this is the guy in the painting. Let's see. Yeah, that's him. Painted brand. Created the stone through the distillation of salts by evaporating urine, a white material that glowed in the dark and burned brilliantly. Letting it stand for days, boiling it, yuck. This is the symbol for phosphorus. And it says phosphorus traps light and represents spiritual illumination. The part here about phosphorus meaning light bearer or Lucifer. So I was trying to check out phosphorus related to enlightenment and ran across Lucifer and the phosphorus in our DNA. I guess phosphorus has a lot to do with DNA and everything to do with life in our bodies. DNA activation. Phosphorus ascends up the spine, Kundalini awakening. The emerald tablets list the 7 steps, which is to do with this, the 7 steps, which is the 7 days of the week, the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, which is the symbols in this image. And the emerald tablet lists the 7 processes: calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation. I don't know what order I'm going here. It's also related to the Mammoth. Where's this one I found? Shoot. This was found on a website, ruha.in, and showed this as a mammoth bookmark. Ruha means spirit. But I wanted to link the mammoths as well. And I found, where is it? Right here. Talking about how the mammoths, the urine and the poo, provided nutrients in the soils, and mammoths are referred to as biological bankers. So phosphorus, formed by nature, is important to life, but apparently we have a present phosphorus problem, shortage of phosphorus, talks about in this video.
From the beginning of time, it was essential to life. In the primordial soup of early Earth, it served as the chemical backbone to the first compounds that eventually became life itself. Phosphorus, the 15th element in the periodic table. It's unique in its sticky chemical nature. Phosphorus has historic and scientific importance. It's the first element isolated and discovered by modern science. It's part of our bodies. It's in our skin. It's in our bones. It's in our cells. It's in our genes, our DNA. Phosphorus even provides the most fundamental form of energy storage. It's like a rechargeable chemical battery for life. Not only is phosphorus in every cell of humankind, it's critical to the growth of the crops and the livestock that feed us. We are all dependent on it. So what's the problem? Phosphorus is a finite resource. It comes from the earth. Although humans are spread across the globe, phosphorus is not. It is unequally distributed. The great reserves can be found in places like the southeastern US and Morocco. Today, giant mines provide the majority of the world's phosphorus, moving the nutrient from massive deposits to areas of deficit. Visit Walt Disney World in Central Florida, and you'll fly over the great phosphate mines of the US. From there, phosphorus is shipped all over the United States and all over the world. Phosphorus is used everywhere. It adds the sharp bite into colas, makes fire retardants work, helps bread to rise, lights matches, might even be found in your television. But unlike other scarce non-renewable resources like fossil fuels, phosphorus doesn't always get the attention you might expect. And so, we come to the phosphorus paradox. Too little phosphorus undermines the food security of nations and the development of continents. Too much phosphorus creates one of the most extensive and tractable water quality problems on the planet.
Too little and too much harms the planet, just same as the body. Too much into the water, if you've ever seen these, causes this glowing algae blooms, which is harmful to ocean life.
When trace amounts of phosphorus unintentionally run off the land and enter a water body, algae growth can become a major problem. Phosphorus in water can upend entire ecosystems, destroy fisheries, and even create vast dead zones. We all contribute, both to the demand and the environmental problems associated with phosphorus. But most of us have no idea how important it is to us, or how we fit in. As we go about our days, we make little decisions that, in aggregate, drive major outcomes in how phosphorus is used. These decisions, from the food we eat to the prices we demand, cause unintended consequences. Modern agriculture has brought fertilizers containing phosphorus, along with other inputs, to grow crops to feed an increasing world population. And all the while, we're depleting our high-quality phosphorus sources, upon which we built our food production.
Phosphorus does a lot more than that. It has to do with energy transfer in our bodies from cell to cell. Energy, spirit. I think I have those links too.
Systems, and arguably, our societies. The U.S., once a major exporter of phosphorus, will soon be a net importer. Our options for new sources within the United States are limited. And other sources that we might turn to aren't so clean. They contain cadmium. They contain uranium. And it takes a lot of energy and money to remove these contaminants from the phosphate rock before it can be safely used. So, what can we do about it? In the developing world, researchers are helping farmers select crops whose roots grow in places where only scant supplies of phosphorus can be found. In the developed world, conservationists are devising watershed programs that stop phosphorus at the source of application before it enters waterways. Can we be smarter about the way we use phosphorus? Sure we can. We can more efficiently use the phosphorus that we have. We can better recycle phosphorus between our cities and our farms. And we can capture phosphorus before it's washed away. But doing this involves change in how we grow food and what we eat, how we treat our sewage waste, how we use fertilizers, and how we manage our landscapes. Clearly, this is complicated. Awareness is key in recognizing our own role in the problem. We can learn a lot from critical stories shared by scientists and politicians, farmers, fishermen, and miners, about successes and failures, about hope and frustration, about the known and the unknown. How often do you get a chance to make a difference in the story of mankind? The time is now.
One person can make a difference.
The phosphorus paradox is an urgent problem, and it's a story we are compelled to tell.
So the Mammoth was a huge part in replenishing, recycling the phosphorus, because phosphorus can't be created. It's formed by nature and it's recycled, and the extinction of the mammoths contributed to the lack of phosphorus. And I read that they're presently trying to clone the mammoth.
So as a kid, I was a fan of ancient animals. I think I liked the furry ones a little bit more than the dinosaurs, but you know, they were both attractive.
The woolly mammoth is a cultural favorite, a long-extinct animal that can still capture the imagination. We commonly accept the woolly mammoth became extinct at the end of the last ice age 10,000 years ago, due to a combination of climate change and human hunters. But suddenly, this loss might not be permanent. There are a handful of projects across the globe working to bring extinct animals back from the dead. They call it de-extinction.
The alchemist is Mother Nature herself, and humans kind of interfered with that and screwed things up and messed with the balance.
What I would emphasize in de-extinction is de-extinction of DNA, not so much of species.
Leading one of those projects is Dr. George Church, a professor of genetics at Harvard University. He's a genius.
This is the tRNA that I solved helped solve as a teenager.
To create new mammoths, Dr. Church started with a close relative. Then, he made some key changes to its genome.
Our lab and others have developed a whole variety of genome engineering tools. One of them is CRISPR. The way that CRISPR works is that you calculate in the computer a particular set of 20 A's, G's, and T's in a row, and then the CRISPR protein cuts, and then that cut alters the gene. In this case, we've already edited 15 genes, and we're well on our way to doing another 30-some genes that have been selected to specifically help the modern Asian elephant survive in more environments than it currently have, particularly cold environments.
De-extinction has plenty of detractors. They feel it provides an all-too-convenient backup plan to habitat destruction that humanity has caused. And more practically, where do we put resurrected animals that no longer have a natural habitat? Dr. Church has a place in mind for that part.
The tundra, which is one of the largest gigantic ecosystem throughout the top of the world, is melting. The soil is very thick, full of carbon and melting. And if that carbon escapes, it could it be equivalent to twice the carbon in the atmosphere and twice the carbon in all the forests. So what could elephants do? By allowing cold-resistant elephants or mammoths to repopulate the tundra, they will punch down the snow in the wintertime, allowing cold air to come in. And in the summertime, they'll knock down trees, which are very absorbent, and release the grasses from the dead grass so they grow well and reflect light. When
And
you
fertilize
simulate
the
this
phosphorus in our
with
food.
real ecosystem in Siberia, the temperature drop is 20 degrees, which is a really big deal in terms of delaying or the release of carbon by melting.
Proponents of de-extinction believe that bringing back the mammoth would represent a turning point for what we can do with genomes, and the positive effect our work with genomes can have on the world around us. And of course, it would give us the chance to say hello to an old friend.
So the guy, Arcadian Art, that found the letter said something in his Discord about these being, what do you call it, book stands, bookmarkers, that this would be a book. So I started looking for a book that had to do with alchemy, kidney stones, urine, and ran across a couple. There's one called the Mutus Liber, translates as the wordless book. It's symbolic, it's all pictures. Alchemy, how to make a philosopher's stone. And it's like 15 pages. Pictures like this. It's the 7-stage transmutation. There's physical and spiritual aspects to it. Oh God. Traffic, house traffic, hang on. Anyway, what double heading it. Did I just close it? Okay, the Mutus Liber. And then I found another book, the Book of Aquarius. I've got the full. It's supposedly how to make a philosopher's stone, written by Anonymous. The Philosopher's Stone, Elixir of Life, Fountain of Youth, Enlightenment. And it talks about turning lead to gold. And it talks about urine, where the phosphorus is. There's white stone, red powder, different kinds. Distill. The only ingredient of the Phosphorus Stone is urine. But this book is free online. And there's another called The Book of Magic, From Antiquity to the Enlightenment. I keep running into Emperor Rudolph. This is like the second or third time. And it reminds me of the video, I don't know if it's Cicada, 7's Exposed. The one where they showed the red nose and the nose being repaired on the Sphinx. But here they're talking about alchemy, and this guy, D, who supposedly communicated with angels, encounters with Raphael, and then they kind of hint at something by talking about kidney stones, and then go right to talking about the Phosphorus Stone. So there's a lot to read and study on this. Emperor Rudolph. Now here they spelled it different.
Wally.
Anyway, everything just kind of ran into each other. The Phosphorus Stone, kidney stone, and phosphate rock. And I still think if Ango did a video, somebody found a picture of this. And I found a site that described what the guy said that was. A palace, or not a palace, a temple. What was his name? Scriabin? Mysterium. Something about a temple with 12 doors. Anyway, that's supposedly what the drawing is, and this is like the water reflection half of it, and this is the temple, and these are supposedly columns, and then these 12 doors. But to me, I still see alchemy, and I still see the astrolabe, because it ties in that the astrolabes have 12 sections related to the equinox, and also Ptolemy's, where is he? Ptolemy's astrolabe has 7 rings, and the 7 rings are the same 7 chemical symbols in alchemy: the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, which I find is a coincidence. You've got Ptolemy with the Earth sphere, and what's his face? Zoroaster with the celestial sphere. And then he's got this crown, which to me also looks like these pillars, spikes, or whatever they are. And these pins up here, there's 7 of them. So I just thought that was a coincidence, that maybe he thought he was drawing a temple in actuality, because to me this looks like a kettle, like for burning, brewing. This here looks like a handle. So maybe it's some kind of thing to cook the Phosphorus Stone in, and these are like windows. I don't know. But all these pictures have the astrolabe in it. It's also called armillary sphere, celestial sphere, and then I found this orrery, and there's supposedly things hinted in this painting. The philosopher lecturing at the orrery is what the painting is called, and it's something to do about enlightenment, but there's something glowing in the center. This is like a table version of the astrolabe. And I just thought it was coincidence that the 7 rings are also the same 7 alchemical symbols of this. The emerald tablet, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Moon. There's Ptolemy again, being instructed by Astronomia, an angel, maybe somebody, how to use an armillary sphere here. And I ran into an article that talked about Noah hung it in the ark. It was called the Zohar, T-Z-O-H-A-R, Zohar. He hung it in the ark and it glowed by night. And then Abraham had it, and they called it, he had a magical glowing stone, and they called it the Phosphorus Stone, and they related it to the astrolabe as well in that story. And kind of a sidetrack, I keep running into this, what do you call it, imperial orb. That, the ball with the cross on it. Which, that drawing on the Raphael painting, I mean, could that be like some kind of, does this have to do with the astrolabe? This has to do with authority, Christ consciousness ruling over the globe, the sphere. But then you always see these 3 things together. The scepter or the sword, and the scepter sometimes has the astrolabe, and you have the orb and the crown. I just thought maybe those were related in a way. But anyway, so I think the Philosopher's Stone is phosphorus or phosphate rock. I had a lot more, but I just wanted to get that out there.